What is going on, guys? In this video we're going to go over a foolproof strategy for you, yes you, to get your new high score. This has no limits. No matter what your high score is, I guarantee you will beat your high score. And over time, I guarantee you, if you use this strategy to the T, you can easily get 1 million high score for length. We have a lot to go over, so without further ado, let's go straight into it. First, we need to talk about what this strategy is. This strategy revolves around making a circle around your snake. Very, very simple, but you obviously don't want to do this right off of the spawn. So that leads into the question of when do you want to implement this strategy? There's two different times when you decide you should implement this strategy. Number one, when you're getting to a length that you normally die at. Now, obviously, we don't get to the same length every single time, but you have a general idea of about the score that you reach when things start to get serious. Number two is when you become the bounty. If you find yourself becoming the bounty a lot, that means your average score is obviously higher, and I'd start this strategy then, as you get hunted a lot more when you become the bounty because there's a prize on your head and those VIP privileges are highly coveted, highly coveted. Alrighty, now that we've gone over when to implement this, it's time to get in depth about the tips, tricks, and specific situations you will encounter and how to navigate each of them specifically. Now, don't skip through any of these because these are the most important part that this video has to offer. So, tip number one, you're not always going to have a perfect circle, and that is plenty okay. The only thing is you need to make sure that no part of your circle has a sharp 180-degree turn. That means if you're going north and you turn as sharp as you can and go all the way back south and continue to follow yourself, don't do that, because that will inevitably, that corner that you make will shrink, and when you become big, your turn radius will not be able. Tip number two, stay close to other objects, whether that be small bot snakes or even just smaller snakes that you can tell aren't as good, or a rock. This creates natural choke points where people are obviously going to try and circle you, and a lot of times when they go far enough into these choke points, they're just too big and they can't turn around, and they run into you or the other object that you're pinned against and give you free loot. Tip number three. Take 1 second out of your day to smash that like button and help me out with the YouTube algorithm so we can grow this channel and community. Tip number three. Yeah. Watch out for small snakes and dive bombers. If you see a snake going in a tight circle close to where your circle is and going very slow, chances are that as soon as your head comes around close to them, they're going to speed up and try and cut in front of you. No matter if they die or not, that is their strategy. So this is a super simple thing that you can spot out and prevent from happening. Just make sure when you get close to them, you do not give them a chance at all to cut you off, and just take a little bit and dive back into your circle. Just a little bit, not a lot. Another thing is watch out for tiny little snakes, especially when there's teams around you that are hunting you, because a lot of times what happens is a really small snake will hide under one of their bigger bodied people and jump out at you, and you just wonder where they came from. You'll see this in a lot of the clips that happen during this video, in fact. Tip number four. When grabbing loot that is outside of your circle, that is when you are most vulnerable, and that is when you need to pay attention the most. Do not get greedy. Obviously, watch out for the little snakes and the dive bombers. But the other thing that you need to really, really watch out for is snakes coming in the opposite direction of you so that you're going to come head on. Because when that happens, you need to cut back into yourself before they can cut in between you. Because if they get in between you, you're just dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that is when you're the most vulnerable, is when you're grabbing loot. Also, do not turn around to go back for loot. If you are surrounded by a bunch of snakes that are all trying to kill you, sometimes lobbies are going to be super packed and there's going to be a lot of players that are trying to kill you, and other times there may only be 1 or 2 snakes. When the lobbies are super packed, make sure that you never turn around. Just continue to go in the circle. You will miss out on a little bit of loot when you just go by a snake and they end up dying, and you might not get any of that, but you will still be alive and growing towards your new high score or 1,000,000. Now, if you're in a smaller lobby that isn't as good and there's not very many people trying to kill you, then you can change directions at times. But when you go back for all their loot, instead of going out, turning around, and then turning back around to go back to your snake, continue on your path and just make a new circle. Because as soon as your head goes out, the 1 or 2 that are trying to kill you are going to follow you. And if you turn around, you're going to play right into them and they'll cut you off, and that's the end. This strategy is foolproof, but it's going to take you a little bit to get down. You're going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're in these games for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and it only takes 1 second and 1 wrong move for you to die. And that's just going to happen. But the more that you follow these steps, the better chance that you have of getting more and more consistent and higher. So that's all I have for you guys today. Comment down below what your current high score is, and in a couple days come back and update the comment. I'd like to know what your guys' high scores are. So I hope this video helped you, and if it did, please drop a like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night or whatever time it is for you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!